It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
8:37. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Let's get the latest with Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Bishop Ford, traffic is stop and go from Stony Island to Cottage Grove. All lanes have reopened after there was a rollover semi. We're looking at about 18 minutes from 8094 to the merge. Inbound Ryan's a little heavy in the express lanes approaching the Stevenson after a crash. Inbound Eisenhower, it's stuffed up western to the Burns Circle due to that long-term construction. 36 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 28. In the loop, Washington remains closed between LaSalle and Clark after an overnight crash in which a car hit a bus which went into a building. There were injuries. West Side Harrison is blocked now between Central and Lotus in front of Loretto Hospital. That's for the coronavirus testing there. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, a windy day ahead. In fact, lakefront flooding is possible with very high waves and a wind advisory for the area this afternoon. High 55, partly cloudy and 41 overnight. 41 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Pleased to be joined by Charlotte Pence Bond. She's the author of the New York Times bestselling children's book, Marlon Bundo's A Day in the Life of the Vice President. Marlon Bundo.
It's a bunny.
Is that, yeah, and a takeoff on Marlon Brando, I presume.
Right.
Yeah. As well as several other books, not just Marlon Bundo's Day in the Life of the Vice President. She is the second child and eldest daughter, or elder daughter, of the 48th Vice President of the United States. That would be Mike Pence. You remember him from such governor's mansions as the one in Indiana.
Right next door, yes.
And, of course, his lovely wife, Karen. She is currently the host of the new online show and Ricochet podcast, Little's News Briefing, a new show for kids between the ages of 5 and 14 discussing the news of the day. Well, there you go. There's some more remote learning you can do.
Well, yeah.
As you're trying to, adjust in states like Illinois. Well, really all the states still with respect to being homeschooling parents, whether you want to be or not. Charlotte Pence Bond, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Now, I don't, want to take sides here, so I just want to understand, is there any tension going on between you and Callista Gingrich now that you've entered the children's book market? Is that supposed to be her domain, or are you guys getting along okay?
No, yeah, we actually are we're really excited about it because we've done 3 books now, and I believe Callista's done even more than that. But yeah, we really like it. We did it with Red Green Books actually too, which is the same publisher as her. So they're just amazing.
I have to tell you, I checked out. I've got 2 boys. They're 15 and 16, but we can't watch the news anymore because it's really starting to affect them mentally. Mm-hmm. So we checked out little news briefings because I knew you were going to be on the show. And why did you? It's a great idea. And why did you decide to start it?
Oh, thanks. Well, actually, it really was for that reason. I was just remembering that when I was a kid, when 9/11 happened, I was 8 years old, and we weren't allowed to go in the living room because we weren't allowed to see what was on TV. And I was kind of thinking, that there's so many of these White House press briefings happening every day, and parents might be watching them at home, but the kids are at home with them too. They're all just at home together, and probably is harder to avoid, watching the news or hearing about what's going on. And as a kid, I think that could definitely be pretty scary. It's scary for adults too. So I just wanted to create something that, parents could turn on for kids that would give them the information that they needed to feel a little bit more secure, but not too much information.
Right. You have to answer difficult questions like, Mom, Dad, why does Jim Acosta hate America? And those are difficult questions to answer. I get it. Charlotte, how have you dealt in your siblings dealt with, being in the limelight now as children of the vice president and of the United States. I mean, you haven't gotten the same sort of scrutiny and criticism of the Trump kids, of course, but still, when you're not in the public eye, your parents are, and that's a change from even when he was the governor of Indiana. It's just how have you adjusted to all that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always strange when people, criticize your dad because it's at the end of the day, it's your dad. But, I think that my dad kind of always taught me, and I wrote about this in my book, Where You Go. It's kind of about him, but he, always talked about how, protesters and people who are, talking negatively about him, that just means that the system is working the way it's supposed to. In America, we're allowed to talk about our political officials that we don't agree with, and we're allowed to do so openly. And so, he always says that's what freedom looks like. So it's hard as a kid to hear that, but it's just something that I've kind of grown up knowing that is important.
Now, when President Trump was deciding who was going to be his VP, his running mate, there was a story that was circulating, and I've always wanted to know if it was true, that when he was in Indiana visiting you and your family and the Trump kids were there, that some handler said that Trump's plane was broken so that he could spend more time with your family. Is there any truth to that?
I haven't heard that. I don't know.
But all right. Then what was your, how was that first meeting with President Trump and with his children?
I met them actually at when we went out to New Jersey in July. So it was my parents, and we got to meet the president and first lady, and that was really special for me. I went out with my parents a couple weeks before anything was official, and just got to get to know them a little bit as a family, which was really special.
And who's your favorite Trump kid? I'm kidding. So let me going back to your dad just for a second. Has he ever raised his voice in your life? Because he's so funny at these briefings. He's just unflappable. And he's obviously a very different personality than the president. No matter what angle they come, no matter the ridiculous premise you get from the press, no matter the criticism, he sort of receives it almost like a cushion. Like it softly lands on him, and he just turns it around in like this, reasonable, matter of fact Midwestern explanation.
Yeah, it's funny. People have asked me that. They say, is he that even-tempered all the time? And he is. I mean, that's just kind of how he is. And I think he's perfect for especially a time like this right now when people, don't need to be riled up. I mean, they need to be reassured. And I think that was really what I was kind of basing the little news briefing on, was the president and my dad's press briefings, because I just thought they were so great that they were going out every day and talking to people directly and just giving information and updates that people want. And I thought that would be a great thing to do for kids.
Do you have any story of your dad from your childhood that you want to share with us that maybe nobody knows about? Something.
It's not a story, but I always like telling people. People ask me if there's anything that he, that people don't know about him that you'd be surprised to find out. And I like telling people that he's very good at drawing cartoons, like caricatures.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, that's like a fun fact. I really like telling people because no one would really know that otherwise. But he had like a cartoon strip in law school, and he's really talented at it. I don't know if he's been doing it lately, but he's a good caricature artist.
Maybe he could resuscitate that cartoon strip. He'd have to probably use a nom de plume, but that could be very interesting. I imagine the target-rich environment he has in which to operate could be the new Doonesbury. With respect to the adjustment, though, even beyond your parents and their position in the public eye and the criticism, your family and your siblings' families, the adjustments that you've made?
I think the biggest adjustment is just the lack of privacy, probably, that you kind of have to get used to. But it's kind of weird. I mean, I think at first a lot changes, and I was there on the campaign trail, and then also there in the election, and moved to DC right after with my parents, and that was just such an educational experience for me, being able to travel all over the country. But yeah, I mean, even then, I mean, things change pretty quickly, but at the end of the day, it's kind of weird how much doesn't change and how much you're still just your family, and this is just your dad's job. And I mean, I talk to my dad, all the time on the phone still. I mean, nothing like that has really changed within our family.
She is Charlotte Pence Bond. She's the author of the New York Times bestselling children's book, Marlon Bundo's A Day in the Life of the Vice President, as well as several other books. The second child, elder daughter of Vice President Pence and Karen Pence, and the host of the new online show and Ricochet podcast, Little's News Briefing, which is a new show for kids between a new show for kids between the ages of 5 and 14 that discusses the news of the day in a way that's consumable for them. Charlotte Pence Bond, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Take care.
Thanks. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
These are tough times for everyone, so dealing with your timeshare may not be your biggest concern. But when this passes, do you still want a lifetime of payments, fees, and commitments for a timeshare you were misled into buying?
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshares and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the timeshare giants ever since, so no one knows this industry better than me and my team. Today, we have over 200 employees and have saved our clients an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. Give my office a call today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare contract or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial now for your free information kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100. 800-290-7100.
Oh, I just did it. I just took my balance of nature. And I do it because the best defense our body has against getting sick is having a strong, healthy immune system. And that's why I take it and I give it to my family and to some of my friends. It's just 6 capsules. And with that, you're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies